Hello, I'm Honora Wall. I'm the founder of EduCalc for every student left out of the success equation. I'm a tutor, classroom teacher, and education specialist focused on dyscalculia. Today, I'd like to talk to you about dyscalculia versus low numeracy. How do you know which problem is affecting your child or your student? This primer is intended for parents and educators to help you better understand some of your students' learning needs. Dyscalculia and low numeracy look very much alike. It can be hard to know which issue is happening to your child and which one you need to address. There are some important differences between them. Dyscalculia is a math learning disability caused either by heredity or by an injury, and it is a lifelong condition. Low numeracy is also called being bad at math. It's a product of our environment. It's not something that we are born with, and we can change low numeracy. Both of these conditions cause people to struggle with math, sometimes for many years. Dyscalculia is a specific learning disability. It's in the same family as dyslexia or dysgraphia, and accommodations for dyscalculia are protected by federal law. Dyscalculia is basically a weakness in the wiring or gray matter in the parietal lobe, up here. When people are born with dyscalculia, it's called developmental or DD dyscalculia. If you acquire dyscalculia through an injury or an accident, this is referred to as AD, acquired dyscalculia. Low numeracy can come from any number of outside issues. If there are stresses or traumas, or a student changes school quite a bit, or if they're learning a new language and also learning math within the new language, these can all impact our success in math class. If we come from an environment that isn't very rich in numeracy or literacy, then we can have a poor foundation. But low numeracy is a temporary condition, and it shows up in one or two areas or through making common mistakes. But it's not as widespread throughout all of math the way dyscalculia is. Signs of dyscalculia can appear as early as kindergarten. Low numeracy can happen at any grade level. In your classroom or at home, you might notice that your student is counting from 1 every time, and they don't seem to develop the more advanced methods of counting that we expect to see by late kindergarten or first grade. For people with dyscalculia, certain things like telling time, elapsed time, counting out money or change, or dealing with directions, estimating, these concepts never make a lot of sense, even as adults. Also, you might see that subtraction is worse than addition, or division is worse than multiplication. Everything backwards tends to be more difficult for students with dyscalculia. The hallmark feature of this learning disability is that students can learn the information and master it in class, but they forget the information over time. The amount of time is different for every student, but every student with dyscalculia does seem to forget things they've already learned when it comes to math. With low numeracy, we might see that a student is making frequent mistakes, or they seem to have sloppy work, but they're able to memorize and retrieve basic facts or formulas. They might have a spotty memory for math information, and they don't seem to have a solid foundation. But this is happening in most of their classes, so their math grade might be similar to their grades in other classes, whereas dyscalculia causes a very low math grade while other grades are usually fine, if not stellar. Also, look at the numbers. Dyscalculia affects approximately 8 to 10% of people worldwide. That's about the same rate as dyslexia, which runs about 12% of the population. However, low numeracy affects somewhere between 30 and 50% of everyone in the United States. That's according to the CDC.org. Here's where both dyscalculia and low numeracy are the same. Both conditions lead to math anxiety. They lead to low self-esteem, low test scores, and a low belief in their ability to conquer and succeed in math. Both conditions create a barrier to taking higher level math classes. and a barrier to colleges or certain careers. And over a lifetime, they tend to lead to lower economic success. The other main difference to remember is that dyscalculia gets better with accommodations. Low numeracy gets better with interventions and practice. Finally, how can you help students or children who have dyscalculia or low numeracy? First, try an intervention program. See if you can affect a change in memorizing basic facts or understanding the concepts of mathematical thinking. If that's not working, or if the change doesn't stick, make sure you get a proper diagnosis. Only a psychologist or a neurologist is properly trained to run the battery of tests required to make an official dyscalculia diagnosis. And then make sure you get help from someone who is trained or specializes in dyscalculia so that they understand the learning needs and the cognitive issues your child is facing. I've included some resources for you here that I really like because I created them. But there are literally hundreds of great websites, books, videos, and resources that will help you and your child with the process of getting better at math. I recommend you try as many of them as you can until you find the best fit for you and your situation. Please visit my website, educalcinc.com, for more information or guidance. You can also go to my Thinkific channel if you're looking for educator training. And I do have a YouTube channel with free math videos if you learn well from that. Thank you for checking in with this quick introduction to dyscalculia and low numeracy. I'm Honora Wall, and if I can answer any questions for you about either of these barriers to math success, please contact me at educalcmath@gmail.com. Thank you.